A leaked military speech has shaken China's leadership to its core. General Zhang Youxia accused Xi Jinping of stealing 2 trillion yuan in defense funds, funneled into overseas assets from Australia to Thailand. But what is the truth behind this story? At the same time, the Yang Lanlan scandal refuses to fade, and tanks rolling through Beijing are suddenly blocked by buses in the streets. Is this really just a parade rehearsal? Or proof that a power struggle at the very heart of the CCP can no longer be hidden? This is today's report from China Unfiltered. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us. Shocking report. Zhang Youxia's internal military speech reveals Xi may have embezzled 2 trillion yuan in military funds. As the Yang Lanlan scandal in Australia refuses to fade, China itself is heating up to a breaking point. On Monday, August 18th, a bombshell leaked online. A transcript of Zhang Youxia's internal military speech directly accusing Xi Jinping of siphoning off 2 trillion yuan from the defense budget, money allegedly funneled into Australia and Thailand. Analysts quickly framed it as a devastating strike by anti-Xi forces, but the document itself raised 3 troubling questions. According to the leak, Zhang's remarks, published on the Heavenly Secrets Guide blog and sent by an insider to overseas outlets, alleged that Xi's family controls roughly 2 trillion yuan, approximately $278.4 billion, in overseas assets, stashed across bank accounts, real estate, stocks, and trust funds. Zhang argued that such an enormous fortune was impossible to accumulate from Xi's official salary and allowances, suggesting instead that these funds had been diverted directly from the military budget. He denounced this as the people's blood and sweat, national defense funds painfully extracted from the treasury, now reappearing in Australian and Thai property investment projects. Framing his speech in Mao's doctrine of criticism and self-criticism, Zhang pressed the question: how could Xi Jinping, burdened with corruption on such a scale, continue to lead the party and the nation? Discipline, Zhang warned, is non-negotiable. If the party general secretary cannot lead by example, he must step down, face party discipline and the law, and even prepare to enter Qincheng prison. Built in 1958 in the northern outskirts of Beijing and long considered China's most notorious high-security prison, Qincheng is reserved almost exclusively for fallen CCP elites, high-ranking generals, and disgraced ministers. Many senior officials purged during past anti-corruption campaigns ended up there, reflecting on their downfall in isolation. For Zhang, asking Xi to enter Qincheng was not a call for humiliation, but a demand for the party's self-purification, proof of accountability to the people. According to the article, commentator Li Daiyu noted on his own channel that Zhang's words contained 3 explosive elements: the figure of 2 trillion yuan, its direct link to misappropriated military funds, and its overseas trail to Australia, strikingly close to the 1.33 trillion yuan tied to the Yang Lanlan case. This, he argued, was no coincidence. It implicitly connected the Yang scandal to the Xi family and positioned it as ammunition for the anti-Xi camp. By demanding Xi enter Qincheng to repent, Zhang had effectively stripped him of any chance of a dignified transition, leaving only the prospect of arrest. Yet Li also flagged 3 inconsistencies. First, the speech alleged that Xi Jinping may have embezzled 2 trillion yuan from the military budget. Yet since 2020, the CCP's annual defense expenditure has been about 1.5 trillion yuan, nearly $209 billion, with actual outlays closer to 3 trillion. For Xi alone to seize 2 trillion would represent an extraordinary operation. It would mean that between 2013 and 2023, he would have needed to siphon off an average of 200 billion yuan, nearly $28 billion, each year to reach that total. Whether diverted steadily or taken all at once, such a massive move would almost certainly have been detected, a direct contradiction of the CCP elite's characteristic style of hidden, carefully concealed corruption. On top of that, Xi does not hold a permanent military financial post, making it difficult for him to control military budgets directly. Most crucially, no members of the Xi family are actually embedded within the military. Second, Zhang Youxia reportedly declared that the money should be recovered, confiscated, and redistributed to the people. Li Daiyu argued that this was certainly not a genuine statement, since the phrase, "the people," for the CCP is nothing more than a grandiose pretext used to cover corruption. He stressed, confiscating such funds would throw the CCP's elite into turmoil and panic. There is not a single princeling who is not corrupt. Words like these are not suitable for public statements because they could get a person taken down. Zhang Youxia himself is a red aristocrat. He knows very well what can be said and what cannot. Third, Li pointed to a precedent once described by former Chinese Premier Zhao Ziyang. Within the CCP leadership, open confrontations almost never happen. High-level rivals do not quarrel face-to-face. Instead, they undermine each other through secret internal reports, or by leaking to the outside world so that external opinion can be used as a weapon. Against this backdrop, Zhang Youxia's suggestion that Xi Jinping should enter Qincheng prison to repent stood out as highly unusual. Such language does not fit CCP internal traditions, nor does it comply with established party norms and procedures. Whether someone goes to Qincheng must follow legal processes and be decided by a judge's ruling, not by Zhang Youxia's personal decree. Still, commentator Li Daiyu concluded that although the transcript contains several questionable elements, it should not be dismissed outright, because its intention is constructive. He noted that for Xi Jinping, embezzling 2 trillion yuan would not have been difficult. It could have been achieved through other channels. In fact, Li argued, if Xi were not corrupt, many within the party would find it strange, and might even fear that Xi would eventually move against them. Tanks flood Beijing, buses blocking the streets. According to Vision Times, Beijing has recently seen extraordinary scenes. Tanks and armored vehicles rolling into the capital, only to be blocked at intersections by buses deliberately parked in their path. Analysts insist these images are no routine drill. With the Beidaihe meetings already marked by strange incidents, high-profile arrests, and intensifying factional infighting, many now suspect the exercises are a cover for something far more dangerous, a looming confrontation at the heart of the CCP. Officially, the CCP insists the activity is tied to preparations for its September 3rd military parade. After the August 9th rehearsal, Beijing staged a second massive drill between 5:30 p.m. on August 16 and 3:30 a.m. on August 17 in the Tiananmen area, involving an estimated 40,000 personnel. Citizen footage posted on X revealed weaponry on display, from unmanned anti-armor vehicles and light tanks to land and submarine-launched ICBMs, air defense systems, suspected FK-3000 platforms, laser weapons, and torpedoes. Most of the equipment was heavily shrouded, with new models defying easy identification. Compared with earlier rehearsals, this round was far larger, disrupting daily life across the capital. Shops shuttered early, intersections and flyovers were guarded by soldiers, and official notices confirmed sweeping restrictions. From August 15th to 17th, traffic around Tiananmen was subject to rolling closures, and the square itself would be sealed off from August 20th to 23. But it was the standoff between tanks and buses that triggered the most speculation. On X, user Wan Junxi reported that heavy armor was brought into downtown Beijing, only to be blocked by several buses deliberately positioned to halt their advance. He wrote, "The hostility between the buses and the tanks was unmistakable," noting that not a single officer dismounted to coordinate, a sign the unit was on combat alert. To him, these were not parade participants, they were forces deployed for military action. The images evoked sharp memories. US-based commentator Chen Pokong observed that the sudden appearance of buses blocking tanks recalled scenes from the spring of 1989, when Beijing citizens famously erected barricades of cars and buses to stop the army's advance before the Tiananmen crackdown. Chen recalled, back then, it was a nationwide resistance. Even the People's Daily and offices inside Zhongnanhai stood up. Bus and taxi drivers across Beijing sided with the people, blocking the roads to keep the military out. The resemblance, he warned, raises questions about what is unfolding behind the scenes now. Chen added that while the CCP has staged drills before, they were usually held in the dead of night, kept secret and unreported. This time, the authorities both announced and publicized the event, a break from precedent. Yet the costs have been severe. The exercises have disrupted work and daily life on a massive scale. Factories in Shandong were said to have suspended operations, with even greater disruption across Hebei and Beijing. And when the parade concludes, Chen cautioned, many of these enterprises may collapse entirely, unable to withstand the financial losses. Parade rehearsal or power struggle. Tanks and armored vehicles rolling into Beijing may look like routine parade drills, but commentator Li Daiyu warns the reality is far darker. The CCP leadership, he argues, is in a life-or-death crisis. Its factions locked in a struggle so fierce that even metaphysics channels claim the signs are written in the stars. According to Li, the deployments were ordered by Zhang Youxia to pressure Beijing's elite and force Xi Jinping into a complete withdrawal. These forces, he speculates, may not leave after the parade at all. Chen Pokong ties the spectacle to a string of bizarre shocks overshadowing this year's Beidaihe meeting. The August 4th protests in Zhangyo, where locals rallied for a bullied girl from a disabled family and defied authorities. The arrests of Liu Jianchao, head of the CCP's International Liaison Department and close ally of Xi, along with Xi's chief of staff Han Shimin, and the explosive Yang Lanlan scandal in Australia, where a 23-year-old flaunting luxury wealth was linked to the Xi family. Beidaihe is usually calm, yet this year it ended abruptly amid arrests, rumors, and armored vehicles in the streets. Soon after, Xi Jinping was reportedly rushed to the hospital with a serious illness. Chen warns the timing is no coincidence. With the September 3rd parade looming and power struggles intensifying, the party may impose martial law under the banner of stability. A showdown, he says, could erupt at any moment. That's all for today's episode. If you found this story insightful, share your thoughts in the comment section and let us know what you think about the topic. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for staying tuned. We'll see you next time.